This video was supposed to be a review of Silver Elite by Danny Francis. I've been having a really hard time getting into it. I'm about halfway through. And when I say that a real life story swept in and has just so completely captivated me, I'm not joking.
This is what we might know about how the 7-minute burglary at Paris's iconic museum took place in broad daylight.
It's being called the heist of the century. The dropped crown on the way out. A cursed diamond. You raised a generation on National Treasure, Pink Panther, and Ocean's 11 and expected this to not just absolutely captivate everybody. I'm so fascinated by everything about this, honestly. I'm not endorsing crime. But I wanted to make a video so I could talk to you about it because it's so interesting. And it got me thinking about all these heist stories that I've watched and read over the years. It is crazy to me that somebody pulled this off in 7 minutes, in broad daylight, no less. I cannot wait for the Netflix documentary. And I fall on the side of people who are just Netflix is making too many documentaries. I generally avoid some of the darker ones that they drop, and I sometimes don't know if the subject matter is fully cared for properly, if they've really given enough time for it. But this I want. What a story. If they catch the thieves, they've got to have some sort of little Ocean's 8 group dynamic going. But if they don't catch them, the mystery, the intrigue. And to be honest, considering the leaked audio footage that came from, I don't know, some sort of meeting or whatever, I saw it on a news story, there's a third of the museum that isn't even fully surveilled and guarded properly. And I feel like if you release that information to the public, there's gonna be copycats coming. Seeing how big this got on social media, at least on TikTok. I haven't seen a ton on Instagram. I'm not really on Instagram as much. But it just seems like with this level of interest from the public, they've got to be preparing for more of this, or attempts, or things that are going to look like attempts, but they're just going to be social media stunts. The copycats are coming. And I think what's so interesting about it to a lot of us is that it feels like a classic heist movie come to life. They found angle grinders. I didn't know what that is. Apparently it's chainsaws for glass. They found a blowtorch. They broke into the museum using a ladder. And the reactions on TikTok have been some of the funniest ever. I understand that this is a real life crime. Normally, I'm on here talking about fiction. This actually happened in the real world, and I do think it's sad that some of these art pieces probably are gone forever. With my admittedly limited knowledge of art history and thievery, I only really know what I know from movies and what I've collected from art historians who are talking about this on TikTok. Those pieces are probably already taken apart, and if they even do recover some of the gemstones, it won't be the same. I do think that is sad, and I know that this is not a fictional story. This is real stuff happening. However, guys, the TikToks, they're so funny. And I wanted to do what we normally do when we talk about books and movies and look at those TikToks. I wanted to do that, but with this situation, because some of them are just so funny and they need to be shared. And then after that, I'm going to share a couple of my favorite books that have heist scenes in them, in case you're kind of craving this dark academia vibe or a heist vibe, art history, in case you've been I don't want to say enjoying the crime, but enjoying the crime. So this first one I thought was so interesting because I have not read this fan fiction, but apparently there's some Marauders fanfic out there about Regulus and the crew being art thieves. The sheer amount of TikToks that I've seen specifically about this fanfic is insane. I didn't even know it existed. And I've seen so many comments being I know it's Regulus, but I can't prove it, which I thought was really funny. Genuinely, the Harry Potter fanfic universe is vast. And I haven't read a ton of it. I tried to read Manacled, which is now Alchemized, and it was really, really dark, and I had a hard time getting into it. I still want to read Alchemized. It's on my TBR, and I did ask on TikTok a while back, if it got lighter, because one of my friends, she really loves that story, and she wanted me to read it. And I really tried to get into it, but I was I don't think I'm in the right headspace to be reading something this dark. Going into it, I expected it to be dark, but not as just dire, and how deeply it rooted. I don't know why. And I haven't really tried any other Harry Potter fanfic since. But if you have read this Marauders Art Historian Thief one, please let me know your thoughts, because apparently half the internet's read this thing.
Since the internet has collectively decided that the jewelry heist at the Louvre is incredibly chic, this is how I would take that and turn it into a wedding aesthetic. And this aesthetic is definitely more on the delusional side and would definitely work better with a smaller group. Starting with the invitations, I would do these very plain, very simple. I would do them handwritten and have it just say a time, a place to show up for the ceremony. The wedding ceremony and cocktail hour are going to take place on a river cruise on the Seine because every good heist needs a good getaway car. This one just happens to be a boat. The vibe is escaping right at golden hour away from the Louvre, heading to the reception where no one's going to find you. The reception's going to be in a ballroom. The servers are going to be wearing white gloves, just like when people handle nice jewelry. This kind of vibe. The decor is going to be really luxe. It's going to be velvet, chandelier, crystal, candlelight, really deep, really heavy. Like you guys snuck into the underground secret society of jewelry heist. Obviously black tie is going to work best for this, so encourage guests to wear dark colors. You can definitely include costume jewelry kind of all around so your guests can have a little bit of fun with it and dress up, or even like the idea of doing something like this at the place settings. And you're going to make custom newspapers that have the like fake story of the jewelry heist in the newspaper. I love the idea of having busts like this that have jewelry on them, or just kind of finding ways to incorporate jewelry into the decor that's not just like having it out on the table. Do you think you could get away with a jewelry heist? And do you think you could get away with planning a jewelry heist wedding?
This within like 24 hours of the crime being committed. I just think it's so funny. What a fun idea. So like, I don't know about a wedding. It'd be so cool. The stole his heart. It's a good theme. It's a good theme. Would that not be such a fun, like even just for a party, even if it was a Halloween party, like how fun is that? And then she comes up with all these good ideas. This is why I think specifically the TikTok generation, which I feel like is kind of a combination of Gen Z and millennials, the content coming out of this group and the speed, stuff like this. Could you imagine like 15 years ago if we were told that people would make this type of content in relation to a crime at the Louvre? Like what on earth? It's so strange, but it's also so funny. The first time I saw this TikTok, I just like, you know how you like laugh in disbelief? That's where I was. I just could not believe that we make this type of content, and it's so funny, and it's always so detailed and niche. And like part of me is just obsessed with that idea. They do seem like the most likely suspects. I feel like I've seen this one quite a few different places, like not this exact TikTok, but like the idea that it's the penguins of Madagascar, which is just, it's so funny. Like the pop culture references you need to navigate this side of TikTok right now. I think, you know, maybe I spend too much time online, but being able to like watch these and knowing that in the future, some poor pop culture historian is gonna have to watch these and just like uncover the layers of the meme sound, like just that this is a viral sound, and the penguins of Madagascar, understanding what got stolen from the Louvre, and somebody's gonna have to write an essay about this someday. And to me, that's hilarious, but it's art. Like, I think that's why to me and to like a lot of people on TikTok, stuff like this is so funny because you're not only like making the joke for what it is, you're pulling in all the little different pieces of TikTok culture and like piecing them together to make something funny. And I absolutely love the way people are doing this.
Why would thieves leave behind a $75 million diamond? I'm sure you already know the Louvre was robbed over the weekend. These thieves took hundreds of millions of dollars worth of French jewels. But what I think is more interesting is what they did not take, a 141 carat diamond worth $75 million. And you might be thinking, oh, maybe they just couldn't get to it. No, look at this picture. The crown that they took is literally in the exact same case, inches apart away from this diamond. That's the most valuable piece in the collection. And French authorities aren't really sure why they didn't take it, but I bet it's because it's cursed. This diamond was found in India by a slave around 1700. To get the diamond out of the mine, the slave cut open his own leg and hid the diamond inside and bandaged it up. Diamond was 400 carats when it was found. So that's like shoving a golf ball into your head to smuggle it out. He heads to the coast and meets an English ship captain. He makes a deal with the ship captain and says, hey, I'll split the profit of the diamond with you if you get me somewhere safely I can sell it. Guy agrees to this, but then tricks him and murders him and steals the diamond. He sells the diamond to some merchant for like chump change, and then he feels really guilty about it, so he hangs himself. Now this merchant sells it to some guy named Thomas Pitt, and Thomas Pitt is highly aware that it's a stolen diamond from an Indian mine, so he needs to smuggle it out of India back to the UK. He hides the diamond in his son's shoe sole to get it out of the country undetected. Once it gets to England, a jeweler takes it where he cuts it for 2 years and takes it from 400 carats to 141 carats. Now it's eventually sold from Thomas Pitt to Philippe II, who is the regent of France. This happens in 1717, and this is when it becomes known as the Regent Diamond and becomes part of the French crown jewel collection. This diamond was actually purchased when Louis XV was King of France in the ripe old age of 7. And this is where shit started going downhill real quick. So after a succession of wars and frivolous spending by all of the royals, they were in bad shape. And that's when Louis XVI became King of France, which is Marie Antoinette's husband. Probably know how this ends. Louis XVI was beheaded during the French Revolution, as was his wife, Marie Antoinette. After that, Napoleon Bonaparte took over. He was exiled twice and died of really painful stomach cancer on an island by himself. But we're not done. Charles X became king in 1824, and this is the last King Louis's little brother. This dude learned literally nothing in the last 100 years. He does things like limit the press, dissolve other chambers that had lawmaking authority, give favors to rich people that had a rough time during the French Revolution. Ultimately, he was overthrown and exiled too. After that, France had a free election where Napoleon III was fairly elected, but he very quickly got power hungry and got rid of elections after that and started doing some crazy shit. Was overthrown and sent away in exile as well. And then France was done with the whole king thing, and somewhere after that it got sent to the Louvre.
I do love all the art historians that are weighing in on this right now. It's so interesting. And I feel like a lot of us, because we do love these heist stories and we love these heist movies, that we're sort of like concocting this story in our minds of the people who took it and like what went on behind the scenes. I saw someone specifically being like, I wish I could have been like a fly on the wall at the meetings where they figured this out. I mean, whoever took this stuff, they knew the story. They had to. Why would you leave a diamond that large if you're gonna already be stealing from the Louvre? You're probably gonna take the most expensive items, but they didn't take this diamond worth an insane amount of money. It's like, it looks like the diamond from the Pink Panther. Like, it's comically large. And just the comments are so funny. Something about a historically educated thief makes this so much more fun to me. And that's it's fun to kind of unravel and speculate about what's going on. I can only imagine one of the thieves frantically Googling cursed stuff Louvre because he ain't taking any chances. I think it was an Instacart order.
It is 2025 and a group just pulled off a 7-minute heist on the Louvre. This is the biggest what's your age rate steering I've ever seen. Because what the fuck are you doing with your life? Somebody just robbed the Louvre. Get out of bed, go do something, be something.
And I don't know how we're supposed to take necessarily. Nobody go and try and top this, but it is really like, I think a funny sentiment that someone's online being like, these people went and they actually stole from the Louvre and you're not doing anything with your life. Oh, guys. I need to up my game because I will not be outdone by some random dudes on electric scooters. I can promise you that. I'm not using my free will to its full capacity.
No, like, they're asking for a haul. You think, okay, fine, here's a haul of everything that I stole from the Louvre yesterday morning. If we can keep this to friends only, that would be great. Basically, I'm already wearing one of the pieces. This one is my favorite. So chic, so ornate. I'm gonna be really sad to see this one melted down and stripped for parts. I kind of want to keep it. Like, is that crazy? Yesterday was just like a very long and hard and taxing day, and I know all the news reports are saying it was an 8-minute heist, and yes, it was, but it was months and months of prep work, and no one ever wants to talk about that. So I feel like I earned this. Let me know in the chat if you think I should keep this one. I mostly tried to steal ugly pieces because I didn't want things that would be missed. This is a brooch, probably from like a royal family, or like, I don't know, a pirate ship, maybe an ancient burial tomb. I don't really know. Where can I purchase? I am on blackmarket.com if that interests you. How did you get away with it? No idea. Our getaway car was a scooter. We had 2 scooters. And I kept waiting for them to catch us, and it just never happened. It was the craziest thing. Okay, and then these gems, I'm not sure if you can see them up close. These gems, they weren't even on my wish list, but I saw them on the way out, and I was like, okay. And I looked around. No one's there anyway, so I was like, might as well. I grabbed it. So they were an impulse deal, kind of like all the stuff by the register at TJ Maxx. Like, that's what this felt like to me. Where did you get the idea? Basically, we had a girls' night, you know, we're drinking some Sauvy B, and we were watching Ocean's 8, And we were just feeling really, really inspired by that movie. And so we're like, let's just go for it. Oh my, yeah, Stacy's in the chat. Stacy's one of our fellow Louvre looters. That's what our group chat name is. But yeah, we just think, you know, it's so important to see women represented in traditionally male-dominated fields. So we decided, why not go for it? And it was honestly so much easier than I thought it was going to be. I mean, we did our due diligence, of course, but it was incredibly easy. Yeah.
There was a scooter. We had 2 scooters. And
This is what I mean. Like, this is so funny. She's acting like she's on a live, answering questions about the Louvre heist while doing a haul. Like, this is the most 2025 version of talking about this that I could possibly imagine. And she brought up a good point. Their getaway car was scooters. It was scooters. Like, was that the plan? Was to hop on an electric scooter and get away? It doesn't seem real. Like, it doesn't seem like that could have happened. And truly, this does feel like Ocean's 8, because I saw this other interview, and this poor man, like, you can tell he's sad. It was an art historian, and he was talking about how, authorities are looking for the pieces and stuff like that, but he was saying, every hour counts, and it does, but essentially this man was confirming the fact that he thinks all of the pieces have been dismantled like they were in Ocean's 8 and are already being sold off. But, like, you can't just say that it's a hopeless case and that you're giving up after 24 hours, because even if it is a hopeless, that's like a little, I don't know if the right word is embarrassing, but you can't just give up after 24 hours for something that is that priceless.
Hear me out. Do you guys think the Louvre got robbed as promo for Now You See Me 3? Because what are the chances really that just, 2 weeks before the movie comes out, that the Louvre gets robbed?
Now that would be interesting if this was all, I don't think it is, but it would be so interesting if this was all some sort of like grand, elaborate promo for Now You See Me 3. And it's not like I'm not looking forward to that movie. To be honest, I loved the first 2. Woody Harrelson's in it. He plays Haymitch. Dave Franco, who I was in love with as a child. If they popped up in that movie and like had a scene in the Louvre and it was that stuff, can you imagine? Obviously, they're not going to do that. I really don't think that the Louvre would be involved in something like that. But how epic would it be if they were?
If there's one thing that can unite us as a country, even if it's just for a moment, one beautiful moment, it's a heist. It's a heist, and it's happening right now. When I heard about the heist, someone broke into the Louvre and stole a bunch of jewelry, I screamed. I was so excited. And everyone in the comments is like equally as excited. It's just something that we all love. It's something that we can all appreciate. And I guess maybe if it's like your diamonds or something, then maybe you'd be upset. But everyone else is like really, really happy. It's awesome. And the robbers seem like good people. And I'm sure they have like really cool individual vibes. And they're all like really smart in their own ways. And they have their little like specialty things. And I can't wait to watch the documentary. Like, Netflix, please. And we haven't even caught them yet, but Netflix, please. I hope we don't catch them. They're going to look so pretty in their jewelry. And like, I hope they get away with it.
This is so funny. Oh, it is. It does. Like, I feel like it just does feel like an Ocean's movie. And so we're like, okay, so like, who's the programmer? Who's the getaway specialist? And like, we want to know the characters behind this. The comments, I just know some Group 7 baddies executed this heist. If you got placed in Group 7, please let me know, because I am also Group 7. Art heists are back. That's so chic. I can't. Someone said, when I heard heist, and they put a picture of the Minions. Mona Lisa watching the heist. I'm so sorry. I think this is so rare. Someone put, what if it's a love story heist? Oh, I needed to laugh like this. Oh, man. Pink Panther core for sale. Like, it's on Facebook Marketplace. I can't. Hear me out. Ocean's 9 with a new generation of it girls. The main guy who doesn't do this anymore but is avenging someone he loves. The serious one who doesn't get along with anyone but somehow softens during said heist, and with help from the third, my fave, the goofy one. If there's a fourth, it's a hot woman.
In a world full of crypto scams and AI startups, it is so refreshing to see somebody get to work with their own 2 hands and make money the old-fashioned way. These robbers are not going to sell a course on how to do this. They are masters of their craft, and we should take inspiration from them. No one's doing it like this anymore, and we used to be like this. This is just some down-home country hard work and grit. The amount of planning that this involved, the amount of foresight this involved. AI could never do this. AI could never do this.
No one was harmed. No hate was involved. Just good old-fashioned greed. The robbers watching all these videos. AI is quaking. Humanity is back. Someone said, and they did it without Teams or Slack. We don't know that. And at last I see the heist. I can't. And I do think that's one of the reasons. I did see this comment kind of floating around on a bunch of different videos, the no one was harmed type of thing, which, like, it's still a crime. Things were taken. A huge collection that was priceless was taken. But at the same time, I've seen so many people be like, it's so refreshing. This is horrible. But it's like, it's so refreshing to see a crime where it's not just like extreme devastation and death. And I feel like a lot of the times, especially on TikTok, we can kind of get pulled into these spirals of not being able to look away from really, really horrible things because it feels like we need to be there to witness it. And I do understand like kind of that emotion and stuff like this. And then we see something like this. And that's why I think our generation is like, oh, it feels like a fun crime. Like this is one where we can enjoy. And I think that's why for a lot of people, we kind of like watching this unfold because it's not something extremely horrific. It's bad, but it's not like gut-wrenching horrible to watch. And it reminds us of like movies and books that we like, which has been such a weird dynamic. I have been thinking about that a lot over the past like day or so, where I'm like, it's so weird for us to like be watching this with a sense of like glee.
Hey guys, I'm here at the Louvre. Quick haul update. I got some really cool stuff. I'm a quick shopper in and out. Didn't have time to read the plaques, but let me just like quickly show you what I got. Okay, so first is this ruby diamond ring from the Byzantine era. Kind of don't care what time period, but it's gonna be a great resale on eBay. The next thing that I got was this super cool wallet cigarette case. This is hand carved by a king or for a king, I think. I don't know which one. 16th, 17th one. Okay, then next up we got these bifocals. Camera back to me. These bifocals, these were worn by a queen. She had bad vision, so they're a little scratched up. These are mine. No, these have always been mine. I kind of had to be in and out. I'm a quick shopper. Next up, we have this amazing diamond ring. In the middle is a yellow diamond. Okay, we got a couple black diamonds in there. It's kind of like a four square. It was super like popular in this like Roman era. I don't know. They stole it too, so I was like, oh, I'll take it back. Okay, we should go.
Doing that in front of the Louvre right now is honestly crazy work to me, but like it is. It's so funny. They're there with the gloves and everything doing a haul. Like, this generation is so unserious. Is this set still available? People treating the comment sections of TikTok as if it was Facebook Marketplace is absolutely sending me. I think I saw one video before this, but there's people in the comments being like, this is how I found out the Louvre got robbed. I placed this brick first and then learned the Louvre was robbed when scrolling. Yeah, it's an interesting time to get like news in this way. For me, this is not the first time I think for a lot of us, this probably isn't the first time we've gotten our news from TikTok. Like, we got this faster than we got any other media explaining something like this. And so it's so interesting when you get the joke first and then you find out the story, because what a wild way to learn about the news. That's all the TikToks. I just wanted to watch those and discuss, because this is so fascinating to me. Like, how not only that it happened, but how it's unfolding on social media. I want like some sort of analysis in 15 years of how this all unfolded and stuff. I think it'd be so interesting. However, I also wanted to talk about books with heists in them, just in case you're kind of hungry for a bit more art history heisty vibes. The first one that came to mind for me is an art heist, and it is from Catwoman Soul Stealer, which is, I feel like, the Sarah J. Maas book that nobody's ever heard of. She and Marie Lu and a bunch of young adult authors, they ended up writing these backstories for DC, and Sarah J. Maas got Catwoman. It's an art heist, but it's also a love story, and we are seeing from Selina's point of view, Catwoman's point of view. And it's how she crosses paths with Batman's sidekick, Batwing. I was truly obsessed with it for a while. It was really good. I feel like all Sarah J. Maas books have this heist element to them if you're into fantasy as well, because in every series, ACOTAR, Crescent City, and Throne of Glass, there's always some sort of, we need this magical, like, object, and we have to find a way to get it. And I feel like we do actually get that several times in a lot of her series, and there's some sort of elaborate plan. My favorite series of all of them is Throne of Glass, and so there are multiple times during that series where we have to pull off a very extravagant plan, and one of my favorite things about that series is how those plans unfold, because I don't like to be told what we're doing ahead of time from a writing standpoint. The only reason we need to know the plan behind a heist or behind some big elaborate like top secret chaos we're going to be causing, whatever it is, you don't need to know that. Like, the readers don't need to know it until we're in it, unless it's gonna go awry and we need to know what the original plan was so that we can detect when things went wrong and like feel that chaos. And I feel like this is one of the things that I really enjoy in those books, is that we don't know, and the main character, Aelin, she usually has these very elaborate plans and doesn't tell people about them, and there's sort of a reason for that, but overall, just like generally speaking, we don't get to know what's going on until we see it kind of all coming to a bow at the end, and I really do enjoy that. And I would say one of the heists, one of the bigger ones in that series, is actually to get back a person as opposed to a magical object, and it's so fun. Like, I don't want to give too much away because I know like not everybody's read that series yet, but if you're into that type of thing, I highly recommend it. The main character, she has such a love for music and art and reading and stuff like that. She's one of my favorite main characters that I've ever read. And so getting to also see her be this like planner behind these really elaborate missions, it's just like, it's such a perfect combination for me. And if you're into that sort of like collecting magical objects heist type of vibe, I do recommend Crave. You need to be at a really specific mentality to get into it. It is young adult paranormal school story. So like the school has vampires and werewolves and stuff like that. It is very teenager-y, but I did really enjoy it. Once you're in the story, you're like in it and you want to know what happens. And so if you're into that type of thing and you like magical, I don't know, is it magical realism, like urban fantasy sort of, but like heavy on the magical creatures, it's really fun. These are not heist stories. However, if you're kind of enjoying this new story, you would 100% enjoy Dan Brown books. I feel like I don't know the pulse of the general reader community, because I know that Dan Brown is extremely popular. However, like, I don't see his books making the rounds on Book Talk, you know what I mean? So they're all art history related. They're standalones, but it's the same main character, where it's an art historian who like specializes in symbology, and so he gets pulled in a lot when there's some sort of crime surrounding the art community, like in this world he gets pulled in. And for me, like, in my opinion, the best one is, at least out of the ones that I've read, is Da Vinci Code. And then I also thought Inferno was really interesting, and you get to learn a lot of art history along the way without it feeling boring, because sometimes, you know, like books where you also like are learning history, it can sometimes feel a little bit dry, and I've never really experienced that with his writing, though I would say Inferno is a little bit slower than the other ones that I've read of his. It always ends up being really high stakes though, and so out of all those, if you really want something that, I mean, they're not thrillers, but to me they lean on the side of thriller, because that I'm like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen, like that type of vibe, perfect for that. And then also a book that I haven't read that I want to is Six of Crows. And I know that they have some sort of art heist situation going on in that story. I watched part of the TV show. I was kind of in and out. It was like a show I was binging and then took a nap during, if that makes sense. So I don't know exactly what goes on in that story, but I do know that it has those vibes to it. And so that's something that I definitely want to read. And I feel like I've read other heist stories and I can't remember what they are. So if you know any good heist stories, please let me know, because I feel like I've read a ton of them, but like none are coming to mind specifically. I think because I'm like stuck in this very specific art history feel to it. But if you have any recommendations, let me know. I feel like this video was all over the place, but I really just wanted to get on here and chat. So if you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for being here. Please like this video if you liked it. Click subscribe if you want to talk about more book stuff. I will be having a review of Silver Elite coming up. My name's Katelyn. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Okay, let me see if I get this right. It's 2025, and we've just had the first major art heist at the Louvre since the 90s. 2025. When was the last time that an art heist was committed at the Louvre? 1998. 2025, 1998. 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5 equals 9. 1 plus 9 plus 9 plus 8 equals 27. 2 plus 7 equals 9. What other significant date in history has a numerology of 9? November 19th, 2004. The date of the premiere of the beloved American classic, National Treasure. They're going to steal the Declaration of Independence.